Openly expressive truth, sharing all that we've been through.
Welcome, people, to another episode of Openly Expressive. I'm your host, Naisha. Today is January 1st, 2025. Happy New Year, people, and may this new year bring you nothing but prosperity and success and abundance. And whatever your heart desires, put forth action to execute the plan. We are privileged every day that we are given another breath in our body, so don't take that for granted. It is a privilege, and many people operate on a type of timing thinking that it is a right. God does not owe us another day. He grants it to us. So be grateful for that. Give thanks every morning you open your eyes. That should definitely be the first thing that you do. I pride myself on that. Me and my children say our prayers every single morning. I send them off in a prayer. And also if two or more people gather in his name, you ask and you shall receive, as long as it's something that is a positive one. Believe and have faith. Don't let anyone diminish your goals. And quite frankly, I think that you should keep your goals to yourself, because there are goal killers. There are people in our lives who are scared of success, who are scared of change because they are complacent in their lives. They're stagnant in their way of being because sometimes change can be scary. It's okay to change. And it's also okay to know that if you fall, you have the capability of getting back up. So don't be afraid to fall. Sometimes you might, or sometimes you might just land on your feet when you take that leap and jump, Just hope for the best and put your best foot forward at all times. So I'm feeling good. Like I said, I started off my day with my prayer. I read the Bible and things like that. I'm going to put a plan into action to actually incorporate that every day along with my other daily routines, like working out, becoming more healthy, attending to my health, keeping up with my doctor's appointments, and my physical and mental well-being. I will be continuing to see my therapist once a week, as I spoke of before. That's highly recommended also. A lot of us are jaded and scorned and have no idea that we are. I am very aware of my shortcomings and, my pain. So I seek therapy in order to attend to those issues. So it's highly recommended. Oftentimes, as I spoke of before, oftentimes in our communities, Black communities, we shun therapy because I guess it's taboo to some, because speaking of your problems, I guess, quote unquote, makes you crazy. Or sometimes, even speaking of your problems can open up wounds that you were masking. You were just putting a Band-Aid on, but you were not administering the proper medication to, fix said wound, heal said wound. So don't ever be afraid to heal your wounds. It might bring up, things that you thought that you were over, because even in therapy and, talking about certain things that happened to me in my past, whether it was childhood or, a few years ago, a few weeks ago, a day or so ago, whatever, you kind of think that you're over it because I guess it doesn't constantly replay in your mind. But the fact that when you do talk about it, it hits a nerve, you're not healed from that. So my word of advice is to, if you are unaware as to what you are not healed from, think of certain events that had occurred in your life, and once you think about it, if it brings you some type of uneasiness to your life, or if it is like a repetitive thought in your mind, that's something that you need to heal from. So just to start, if you don't know what it is, just write down every catastrophic event or hurtful event that has happened in your life. Go down the list and work on it one by one and figure out what you need to heal, whether it's therapy, speaking to someone else, or whether it's therapy and journaling, or as my form of therapy is starting this podcast, or I have become a social media influencer. I am very successful now in navigating the ways of releasing my pain. I am able to convey messages to my audiences. I have a YouTube channel now, openly expressive, and minus the E, and the word expressive is replaced with an X. That's my YouTube channel. I am a influencer for social media, TikTok, Instagram, all of the platforms that we gravitate towards to on a daily basis. I am an affiliate and ambassador. I have been awarded these titles, and I'm able to, just through my messages, I'm able to gain followers on a daily basis and convey messages that are heartfelt, that are helpful to people in their mental well-being or physical well-being or finances, whatever the situation is. And like I told you guys before, I asked God to show me my purpose, and my purpose, I feel, is to administer messages of hope, administer messages of you can heal. You don't have to stay wounded. You don't have to stay complacent. So I just, like I said before, I turned my pain into paychecks, and I also turned my trials into triumphs. Don't be afraid to succeed. It actually feels good. It's a scary place to branch out from what the norm is for you, but it's okay. Change is good. And if you stay the same, you are not growing. And what's the purpose of being granted another day of life to just stay complacent? That makes no sense to me. And I'm quite sure it doesn't make any sense to God either. He probably figuring like, hey, yo, I'm giving you life, another day of life. Why are you not changing anything that you were doing in the previous days that I have given you here on this earth? It's not making sense. Like, make it make sense, my friends. A lot of times we don't do things that make sense at all. And he probably looking at us like, please get it together. I'm trying here. You got to meet me halfway. But sometimes people just expect miracles to happen and for him to bless us and we not put in the work. No, it's a partnership between you and God and Jesus Christ. It is a partnership. It is a business transaction, it feels like. He gives you something, you give him something, or you do the work and you get the reward. That's just like in a job. You do the work, you get the paycheck. You get to take that paycheck and pay your bills and live and buy the finer things and enjoy your life with that paycheck. But what do you have to do? You have to do the work. So do the work on yourself. And, have him lead the way. And I am quite sure, I am positive that the outcome will be a fulfilling outcome. So with all that being said, let's get into it. On a daily basis, many of us go through internal issues, and we just go about life ignoring those said internal issues. And you're wondering why you're in turmoil mentally, or even sometimes physically, because like I said before, those issues can take a toll on your physical. So always prioritize your well-being, your mental health. Because if your mental health is not intact, you will be so screwed up. You can't love yourself properly. You can't administer self-care. You can't love others properly. So you always must put your best interests at heart. Prioritize you and your well-being. Mental health is everything, We walk around here jaded, not knowing that there are issues. We walk around here wreaking havoc. We walk around here hurting other people because, as we all know the term, hurt people hurt people. And it's so crazy to me why we even do that. Now, we're walking around here hurt and scorned, jaded, and everything else, filled with toxicity, but yet we sprue those same feelings and emotions. We project that to others. Just like when people walking around here hating on people for no doggone reason. You know how many haters I got, and I don't even personally know these people. You don't even know my middle name. How the heck you walking around hating me? But that's because they are projecting. Many people project their insecurities, their hurts, their jealousy. They project that onto you. And sometimes I used to be like, dang, why don't this person like me? I don't even know this person. You don't know my middle name, which means you don't know me at all. You know of me. There's a big difference. People think that just because they know your name, they know you. No, you know of me. There's a difference, my friend. Like, I have a neighbor who doesn't like me, and it's just like, you never liked me from the time I moved in here. And we all had a blow up or whatever. I think it was last year or so. And she said, because you caused problems between me and my man. And I'm like, girl, I don't like dudes with dreads. No slight to ones who have dreads, but that's not my preference. I like Caesar and things like that. But anyway, I ain't never been after nobody else's man. I don't have to do that. It's not hard for me to get one, okay? Like going to a pet shop and you trying to get a pet. It's just the one that you feel like choosing. It's a whole bunch of options and you pick the one that you actually want to be with. I don't have a problem in that area. Never have, never will. So it's just like, girl, you're projecting. So you feel inferior to me for whatever reason. And I don't even come across as conceited, cocky, arrogant, whatever you want to call it. I don't come across as that. If y'all are avid listeners to my podcast, you could tell I am cool as heck. Try not to curse so much, because you know I'm a cusser, y'all. I am a work in progress. So even when I speak of God and, you know, changing and things like that, if a cuss happen to come throughout episodes here and there, forgive me. But let he who is without sin cast the first stone, honey. We are all sinners. Some sin a little bit more than others. I was talking to my mother about that the other day, by the way. She was actually telling me yesterday, which my mom has never been like my cheerleader. She's always been a hater. Like, I felt like I was in high school with her and she was just the girls hating on the bleachers looking at me playing volleyball or whatever. I was the cheerleader and she was just one of the people sitting on the bench like cutting her eyes at me like, oh, I can't stand her. I wish I was her, low key. Felt like that with my mom majority of my life with her. Sometimes she gives me compliments here and there, or she tells me she admires me, and that feels good. People be acting like they don't want recognition. Yes, we do. You don't need it to thrive, but shucks, we want it. It feels good to be recognized. Just look how hype we be on Mother's Day or Father's Day. And especially for some fathers who ain't nothing, ain't never been a present dad, but they pride themselves on Father's Day. They be ready to post up, take pictures, and have their kids for that day just to be notable online and be like, yeah, I'm a great dad. You ain't nothing, but have your little moment. So therefore, it goes to show everybody wants some type of recognition. It feels good to be acknowledged for your efforts. It is not easy being a human being. Not a parent. It's not easy being anything on this earth, but put in the work. So as I was saying, yesterday we were talking, because you know, this whole breakup, I don't mean to keep referring to that, but you guys are in on my life, so I might as well fill you in on how it's going. Keep it real. I'm very transparent with mine, hence why I have a podcast. And I don't let anything be looked at as shame or regret. It is what it is, you know. We live life, we go through pains, we go through trials and tribulations. We're human. My mom was telling me, she's like, you know what, you're not a bad person. You basically not really sinning, besides when I was having my sexual encounters with that man or whatever. The love of my life. I'm so weak for him.
Aww.
Okay, speak strong and you know, stay firm, my friend. Don't backslide. He don't want you. He showed it time and time again. He might love or lust you, but he showed you time and time again. That's my little, you know, my little person in my head that has to snap me back into reality. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Just a little damsel. Feel a little damselly and distressy. But anyway, my mom was saying, you're not really a sinner. And especially since I'm not with that person anymore, I'm not sexually active, because that really was the bulk of my sin. I don't really gossip about people. That's not my thing. It's never been my thing. I'm actually turned off by gossipers. It's weird to me. Like, why do you care? What I eat don't make you poop, and vice versa. So why do we care what is going on with somebody else's life? But those are the jaded, tainted people who don't really feel good about themselves. So they always want to nitpick and talk about somebody else's life. That's never been my forte. I'm secure in myself. Even though I have insecurities, I'm secure in myself. Like, I don't have to project my insecurities upon others. That's never been a me thing. It's weird and whack. And if you are that person, get it together. It's not becoming, my friend. But yeah, so she was saying, I'm not really a sinner. Yeah, I'm a cusser. I am a sinner. I'm gonna own up to it. We all are. Let's be for real. But hence why, you know, Jesus died so we can repent for our sins in Jesus' name. Amen. So yeah, when she said that, that made me feel good, because I was like, people be trying to act like I'm such a bad person. Like, people who I've had encounters with or whatever, they always want to nitpick about me. Blah, 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 blah. Why? Because I'm assertive and outspoken and I don't let people walk all over me, except for that man. Back to reality. Well, used to. But even with him, I was like, you know, outspoken and things like that. He wasn't walking over me. It was just, my heart was super attached to him. It's just how it is with love sometimes, or even with jadedness sometimes. You attach yourself to what seems to be a familiar place or is a familiar place. Like I said, dwelling in that land of toxicity. And sometimes you fall weak to it. You know, we're human. So don't even beat yourself up about you feeling weak to a person. Just know that it's not a good thing. You need to get it together, honey. Pick yourself up and get it together. But yeah, so when she said that about me, I actually felt good. One time she also told me she admires the mom that I am. I guess because she sees the type of mom that I am, she was not. Which I don't knock her because we all have our flaws and faults and things like that. I was talking to my therapist one time and I was like, I be feeling like she don't love me, like the way that she treats me. I know that she does, but the way that she administers that love, it doesn't feel good and it doesn't feel like love. So my therapist had to bring me to the realization, like, no, your mom loves you. It's just that's how she loves. And we both came to the conclusion, like, yeah, that's how she loves because the way she was loved or didn't feel loved as a child. And that's how most of us operate. We love people on how we were loved as children or the lack of love that we felt. So that's what we give to others because that's just how we were conditioned to receiving it. And that's just how we give it. It's just something that comes natural to us. But at some point in life, you have to be like, okay, the way that I was loved as a child or from someone who I loved, it didn't feel like love. So what could have been changed for them to make me feel like I was loved? So that would be your answer in moving forward and how you administer love to others. Just because you know, have a bond or some type of twin flame or strong connection with someone, that doesn't always mean love. And sometimes it is love, but you have to realize the way it is being expressed, the way you are conveying said love, it's not making the other person feel like you do love them. Like every time you are with a person and you feel that they love you and vice versa, you should never feel bad in their presence. You should never feel that you have to overthink and overanalyze and have these constant negative thoughts in your mind because of the way that they were treating you. So you continuously operate on that type of timing because, you know, once hurt, you can't erase it. We are humans. We are not data filled entities to where if you have a discrepancy, you could just press the back and delete button or white it out from your life. No, once damage is done, it's set in and it's hard to forget. So for instance, if you are with someone, you're in a relationship, you are committed and the other person is not, and you find out that they cheated on you, you are hurt. And although you might quote unquote forgive them, and I use that term quote unquote because yeah, you said you forgave them and you're trying to move on, but if you keep bringing it up and things like that, did you truly forgive them? And I just feel that even in relationships where this person or that person, but particularly that person, cheated and I retaliated or whatever, it's because I didn't forgive them. And it was like they used to get tired of me bringing it up, but you have to understand a lot of the times, well, many times or all of the time, when somebody constantly brings up something, it's not because of the past hurt, it's because that same past hurt is in the present. You haven't rectified the situation. You merely just kept sweeping it under the rug, and every time I'm trying to walk past, I'm stumping my toe on that lump under the rug, or I'm tripping over that lump over the rug because you hadn't cleaned it up. You hadn't helped me heal from the pain that you inflicted upon me. So of course what I am going to do is bring it up because it's a constant replay in my mind, because in the present time, those actions or how you were treating someone is current. So a lot of the times people get tired of stuff being brought up. They're like, it was in the past. It was in the past. Yeah, but if it was actually in the past, people would let it go and move on. But if you are moving on a type of time where you were doing the same exact thing now as you were doing then, how the heck you expect me to forget about it? Or how the heck you expect me to be closed mouth and move on? And many people always have a problem with how their relationship is going, but they're never taking a step back and looking at their action on why their relationship is going a certain way. Yes, relationships, they involve two people, But instead of always pointing the finger at the other person, are you taking accountability on the actions that you have displayed in this relationship? And then sit down and be like, okay, well, maybe this person is feeling this way or constantly bringing this thing up because I did this. And also, although I've done this and apologized, was I truly sorry? Because an apology should always be followed with moving forward and the actions of never doing it again. Because if you're just merely apologizing just to shut the person up, because that's what it seems like, it don't seem like you're trying to apologize to actually rectify the situation, make them feel better, heal their wound, and move on. Many times I feel like people are just apologizing just to shut the person the heck up and sweep that under the rug and be like, okay, chuck it up and move on. It's not how we work. We're not robots. We can't just go into the file cabinet and be like, okay, well, such and such a person, they made me feel like crap this day. They hurt me and this, da 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 da. And I'm just going to take that file and I'm just going to throw it in the trash, or I'm just going to shred it and all is well. It's not how it works. You hurt someone, help heal that person. But many times we often try to heal with people who hurt us, and it doesn't work because the people who hurt us don't genuinely feel that they did. A lot of times people are just operating day-to-day life off of their hurts. They don't care who gets hit in the crossfire. And that's just so sad to me. Like, dag, you love me? Are you sure? The better question I need to ask you, do you love yourself? Because you're doing a lot of things in your life that's actually hurting you. Either it's drinking or drugging or being promiscuous or not taking care of your mental and physical well-being. You're doing a lot of things that show you don't really love yourself. So like I said before, if I realize that you don't love yourself, who am I to think that I am going to change you into loving me? It feels like an impossible task. And I'm just so tired of entertaining the impossible task of life and people and their shortcomings and their inadequacies. I'm so tired of that. Like, we are whole grown-ups. But did you grow mentally? Because many of us in this world simply grew up physically. We haven't grown up mentally, a lot of us. And I stated in another podcast episode that I feel that the most catastrophic event that has happened in your life in the past as a child, that's when you kind of stop growing mentally. If you had something terrible happen to you when you were 7 years old, if that catastrophic event had stunted your mental growth at that age, you're not operating on an adult mind frame because you are stuck in your trauma. So heal that trauma, honey. Like I said before, if you don't know what your trauma is, write it down. Pinpoint what you need to heal. I don't care what anybody on this earth says. We all need healing. Even a baby in a womb who is inside of a mom's body, who is in a relationship, a toxic physical and mental relationship that is toxic to her well-being, that child growing in her womb, they are affected. People think that, oh, okay, the baby's in the womb, the baby don't know anything, da, da, da. Every time the mother has a nervous breakdown, every time the mother's being dragged or mishandled, she's crying, she's stressed, she's depressed, she's in agony always. You don't think that baby feel that? They are one. And then people wonder why the majority of the world is so tainted and jaded and hurt and administer that hurt to others. We are all hurt children. In actuality, we are all children because we are God's children, right? So we are all hurt children. And I'm just so tired of entertaining people who don't realize that they are hurt. I am also tired of entertaining people who don't care who they hurt. They're like, well, listen, you just in my life for whatever reason I want you there for. I don't care what type of attachment and emotion you have towards me. I'm going to do me. And if you want to stay along for this painful ride, that's your decision. And I just wish people would recognize how whack they are and present themselves as such instead of having that persona represent them. Listen, if you lame, come into the picture of someone's life and be like, hey, yo, I'm lame. I ain't never gonna give you love. I ain't never gonna give you attention. I ain't never gonna be that guy or girl for you. And it's up to you to make the decision if you want to stay or not. I'm gonna be a cheater, an abuser, a liar, a possible molesters. There are killers. They just put all of your shortcomings out on the table and let me decide if I want to go along for that toxic ride. If I want to be a passenger in your jaded, janky hoopty of a car, let me make that decision if I want to be a passenger. Don't just deceive me and be like, I'm going to love you. I'm not going to be like the last person who hurt you. Tell me what happened in your past relationships. I'll do the complete opposite and I'll make you feel good. Da, da, da. Don't sell me a dream. Okay? Don't do it. And I think a lot of us don't even tell ourselves in the beginning, because do we know ourselves? Do we know that we are scorned and jaded and screwed up? A lot of us don't even know it. They just wake up like, yep, I'm fine. And sometimes people just look physically fine, look in the mirror and they be so pleased with their appearance and this and that. They pride themselves on what they wear and the finest things in life and where they travel to and this and that. They're content with all of that. But internally, are you content? Are you looking deep down in your soul and saying, yeah, I'm satisfied with everything about me? Honey, because if you actually did that, the answer would be no. You are not satisfied. Because as I said, none of us are perfect. We all have our little flaws and things like that. But be adult enough to tap into it. And don't just keep collecting different victims, because everybody that you meet and encounter and fall in love with you, or everyone that you canoodle with in life, they're nothing but mere victims that you are going to hurt next. Like they have a daggone hit list of people that they are going to harm. And they don't even know it. They be like, yeah, I'm lonely. I'm about to go get me a shorty. Yeah, I'm about to, dig her back out and do this and that. She gonna fall in love with me. She ain't never gonna want to leave. And then us being jaded females, we stay because we're like, oh my gosh, he dicking me down. I love this man. You sure about that? Because if you loving a man who's just giving you the pipe and that is it, and a little tension here and there, you gotta have a reality check, honey. You ain't loving yourself. Because you settling for that? I've been a settler for far too long. So tired of settling. Ugh. It's whack and very distasteful. Leave a bad taste in your mouth like you were chewing on a pen and the pen ink busted all up in your mouth and you swallowed it. Leaves a very bad taste in your mouth, honey, to keep giving your body and your time to someone and they just, take it for granted. And I'm not even saying that's just for females, because there are men who are hurt by females as well. There are females who just use men for their worldly possessions, just for a come up, There are females who just get pregnant by people because they ain't never been about nothing, never really had no adequate life, and they just purposely get pregnant by a man thinking it's going to be a come up for them, and then he's dummy the doorknob, and he's like, oh, I got me a great female. She loves me for me. No, honey, she's using you. Get a reality check. Face the fact. A lot of us don't have that reality check. And if you have somebody in your life that loves you because guess what? They want your best interest at heart. They're asking you today, did you eat today? How you feeling today? How's your day going? They pray for you. They're genuinely concerned with your well-being. That's a person that you need to keep in your life, because not many of us have that in our lives. Not many of us have someone who actually cares. It's like a dime a dozen to come across someone who genuinely cares about your well-being. We don't all have that. I'm quite sure we all have at least one person in our life who genuinely cares about us, but we overlook it because we are so caught up in our own daily lives. We don't take the time to see that there are people in this world that care about us. And when we get that, since we are not used to having someone in our lives who cares about us, we just mistreat them. We self-sabotage the relationships that we have with people who really care about us. And then it comes to a point where the person cares so much, they're so burnt out, they just give up. They don't care for you anymore. And that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And for any of my exes who are listening, because I have several of those who are avid listeners, I thank you for your support, honey. You've all given me great material. Shout out to you. I don't even hate none of y'all. I hate the fact that I entertain the BS, you know? I hate the fact that I was weak for some of you people who shouldn't even have been in my presence ever, because we are not on the same type of time, clearly. But I thank them for all of the BS that they have put me through, because each experience that I have gone through with any of these individuals, it shaped and molded me into who I am today. And I actually like the person that I am becoming. I didn't always like the person that I was, and that's not even on the account of my personality, because I am a very kind, sweet, loving person. It's just I didn't always like who I was when I was with certain people, because they brought out certain traits out of me that I possess, negative traits. And we all have negative traits, and I would advise that when you recognize what your negative trait is, whether it's blowing up on somebody because you're a hothead, as I am, or you don't know how to speak to people, or whatever the situation is, when you notice what it is about you that is a negative way, you need to stay away from certain people that will trigger you and bring that negative side out of you. So what I'm doing now, I'm weeding out all of the toxic people who I have allowed in my life to bring out those negative traits out of me, because like I told y'all before, when I got locked up, that changed my life. Yeah, it was only 26 hours and it was a freaking felony assault charge. And my therapist, not this one, but my other therapist, was telling me that I'm basically crazy. Everybody, my other doctor was like, you're crazy. That's not normal to crack someone's skull, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but I was angry. I was angry with my life. I was angry with my husband at the time and how my life was and the inadequacies that I had in my life. I was angry. And that's a dangerous place to, be in mentally, because anything, any little thing, whether little or big, that could really set you off, and that could change the trajectory of your life. So I'm just now learning to stay away from people who will bring out that negative side of me, because it's a dangerous one. I will admit. I will definitely admit my temper can go too far, and I am very well capable of doing damage to people, because I've done it in the past to more than one person, sent them to the hospital and everything. Even my ex, the guy I spoke of, he was like, you don't stop until you see blood. Okay, well, why do you keep purposely causing conflict? Why do you keep pissing me off? Let's tread lightly here, my friends. And I'm not saying, women, you gotta walk on eggshells. I'm just saying, if you know that I am fragile mentally, then handle me with care. When you get a gift, and you know for a fact, if you order a vase, what do they do with that vase when they ship it to you? They put styrofoam in the box. They package it up with bubble tape. They secure the item because it is fragile. They'll even go as far as putting fragile labels on it, because they know that when that package is going through the world just to be delivered, that it needs to be handled with care. So oftentimes we express our vulnerabilities to people, which is ultimately letting them know where our mental is and how fragile we are. And they take it and run with it. And it's just like, what kind of savage beast are you to play on my vulnerabilities or to weaponize me with it? Be careful who you're expressing your vulnerabilities and your insecurities with, because a weak-minded person, an insecure person, will throw it in your face. They will throw it in your face and make you feel like crap. And you're like, hold on, hold on, hold on. I trusted you. I thought I could be vulnerable with you. I thought I could let my hair down and my guard down and express my innermost feelings, and you wouldn't use it against me. They're like, are you crazy? I don't even know how to navigate my own life and my own vulnerabilities and insecurities. How you expect me to handle yours with care? Please. You speaking another language to me, honey. I don't know how to do that. And if I feel some type of way, I'm going to use those things against you to hurt you. Instead of me being mature and talking it out, I'm going to violate you. I'm going to disrespect you. I'm going to annihilate you. I am going to make you feel less than. I am going to hurt you. And your insecurities, I'm going to point them out even more than you have pointed them out to me. Because now I have the upper hand. And a lot of times we can be in relationships where people are jealous of you because they know that you have these vulnerabilities and insecurities, but you are navigating life, quote unquote, seamlessly in their eyes. And they're like, I don't know how to do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to break them down. Because a lot of times people put you on a pedestal in their mind, and you might not even move like that, thinking that you are Queen of Sheba or King Tut. But they put you on that status. They set you on that pedestal, and since they don't feel like they're on one, they're like, I gotta break this person all the way down, honey. So I'm gonna play on their insecurities. I'm gonna make them feel inferior to me because in my mind they are superior to me. So I must knock them off that high horse that they sit on every chance that I get. And I don't care how it wounds them, because guess what? Quite frankly, if I wound them, I have power over them now. And the more power I have over them, the less likely they will leave, because that mind control is everything, honey. And it seems like the most toxic relationships are the hardest to shake. I don't know what type of voodoo they done put on us, but it's just like, dang, I know for a fact this is not doing me any type of justice. It's just doing a disservice to me. But why the heck am I clinging on so hard? Because that's that mind control, honey. It's just like I be telling my kids, like, listen, when there's some type of a negative thing that someone says about you, let it go in one ear and out the other. If we just had one ear and that negativity go up in the air, it'd be all stuck, honey. The way that I'm speaking right now, we have those two ears. Let that negative thing that they say about you go in one ear and exit out the other. Because when it dwells in that mind, oh my gosh, replays in your mind constantly the negative things that they say, and that negative way of them speaking to you, that's everlasting. There's things that people have said to me when I was a child, and I replayed in my head a lot, and I'd be like, dang, I'm still hurt behind that. And then those same people, if you bring it up to them, they be like, well, that was in the past, oh, let it go. Yeah, but it hurts. So that whole stupid little saying when we were kids, and they be like, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. You a lie. Because guess what? Those sticks and stones, I even had a broken finger, and that's healed right now. Since I was a kid, that's healed right now. So them sticks and stones, they could be thrown, they could break a bone, and that bone will be repaired with the proper care and resting and tending to that broken bone. But them words, honey, you can't erase. There's no fixture to someone saying hateful and demeaning words to you. There's no fixture for that. Be mindful of how you treat others. Be mindful of what you say to others, because words definitely do hurt. Actions, the way you treat someone, definitely hurts. So just moving forward, when you have someone in your life, treat them with the utmost respect, because that's what you want them to treat you with. Treat them how you want to be treated. And just realize every person who life that you enter, you leave an impression. And if you are a horrible person, then hey, don't care what type of negative impression you leave. But if you are a person who genuinely cares about people and want people to stay in your life for the long run, watch what you say. Watch how you treat them. Because everyone's mental state is fragile. Some people, mental state is more fragile than others. Mine is very fragile, but not completely fragile to the point where I'm just going to be like, let's end it all. No. No matter, even if I had that thought, I know that I'm here for a reason. We are all here for a purpose. Your purpose can simply be to brighten up someone else's life. Just like when my mom said she was walking down the street one day and she just felt compelled to say a prayer for this woman. And she said the woman was dressed to a T, very well put together. And the woman just shouted at my mom and said she's going to take her life that day. She feels like ending it all. So just because someone is well put together, that doesn't mean that they're put together on the inside. So please do not be the person that completely breaks them. We all need love. We all want respect. We all need physical interactions, companionship, conversation. We all need that. So even if you're walking down the street, say hello to someone. Say good morning. Have a blessed day. Greet them with a smile. Embrace someone with a hug. Shake someone's hand. Do a good deed and gesture for someone. Because you never know, you could save a life. You don't know what someone's breaking point is. Somebody could be walking down the street and someone steps on their shoe accidentally. And even if they apologize with all of their might, that could be the last of that person here on this earth, because they just blew the person's brains out because they're like, hey, I'm just fed up with everything. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So treat people with care, because you don't know what somebody's going through. One of my brothers, I spoke to him the day that he died, a few hours before. I told you guys this before. For my newbies, this is the story. My brother Gregory, my dad has 7 children. I have 8 siblings. And my brother called me out the blue 7 o'clock in the morning one time, for the last time. And I didn't want to pick up, but I was compelled to pick up because I'm like, well, just let me pick up, whatever. My first thought was to call him back later, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm rolling over while I'm about to have a conversation. But even talking about it hurts. But, because a lot of times when, you have different parents, the ones that are from your mom, you're closer to them, which is my case. But we developed a great bond. He's on my dad's side. And I miss him dearly. So anyway, I picked up the phone. This could have been 2020. And he was like, hey, sis, I just wanted to introduce you to my girlfriend and this and that. So we introduced ourselves on the phone. He said he wanted us all to get together, go out, get something to eat, kick it, this and that. He was going to promote my businesses and all of this stuff. And he used to work with Stevie Wonder and a multitude of other jobs. And he was going to take me along for the ride. We used to make beats together, all of that. We had plans. We saw each other a few times in life. And he took me on a shopping spree along my other sister and our kids. They came down to Georgia him and my sister came down to Georgia to, just spend time with me. That was the first time I met him. And shout out to my sister Nicole, because whether she knows it or not, she actually saved my life one day when I felt like ending it all. Maybe a year or 2 ago, she randomly called me. We have a relationship. We have a bond. We're not as close as we should be, like other siblings that I have. And but I do have an actual relationship with all of my siblings, whether it's close or not, but I pride myself on that. And there are some siblings who living their lives. And I actually bumped into my sister. If you guys are Flavor of Love fans, she's one of the people on there, well, on one of those seasons. And I bumped into her and I kept asking God to have us unite, because I know she lives in the same state and city that I live in, that I just moved back to. So randomly we bumped into each other after not seeing each other for like 20 something years. We randomly bumped into each other this past summer in a park. And I'm sitting there looking like, hey, she looks so familiar. She looked like my sister, because we favor a lot. And I'm like, but is that my sister? I don't know. So I just, went out on a whim and went up to her. I'm like, are you such and such? I don't want to say her name because, it is what it is. But I asked her and she's like, yeah. I'm like, we're sisters. You're my sister. Because we hadn't seen each other in so long. So, we embraced and we kicked it a little bit on the bench. It was a nice encounter, but we haven't, had an in-depth conversation or anything since. Pray for that, because we literally live 10 minutes away. So it's sad that we don't have a close relationship. I would like that, but I'm in a place in my life where I'm no longer going to force relationships. You either willingly want to be in my life or you don't. And for those who don't, it is what it is. I'll move on. It's fine. Everyone has their own journey and you must respect it. So I'm no longer going to force myself on anyone or feel like someone needs to be in my life who don't want to be there. So anyway, back to my brother. He called me, and him and his girlfriend, we talked or whatever. And a few hours later, one of my other brothers, he texted me and he was like, Greg died today, blah blah blah. And I'm like, what? And it was crazy because I thought that it was the brother, his name is Robert. I thought it was Robert who had passed and Greg was texting me because Robert was very overweight. So I'm thinking that Greg, who I just spoke to that same exact day, was telling me that our brother, who was extremely overweight, that he passed. So I had to read it again, but I'm looking at my text message and the name says Robert. So Robert is telling me that Greg died. So I was baffled. I'm like, what? So that just goes to say, treat people with care, kindness, concern, and regard, because you don't know if that's their last time that you'll ever see or speak to them. And if you love someone, keep them in your life, whether it's a relationship, an intimate relationship, or merely just keeping them as your friend or whatever it is. If you genuinely have a person in your life who is a good person, don't shun them, because that's hard to come by. And then speaking of my brother Robert, he passed this year. He passed in November. And we never met, but we had a strong relationship. Like, he would always check on me every holiday. Hey sis, or just randomly text me, how you doing sis, I love you, this is from your big brother. And I would, return the text message, or we would have several conversations on the phone. We would talk till like 3-4 in the morning. Me, him, and his daughter, they'd be up cooking and stuff. And I'd be like, y'all gotta chill, because we got fat genes in our family. Dad was fat and we're fat, all this stuff. We used to just have a little family inside joke, But we developed a great bond. And so he passed and I didn't know until my sister called and told me. And I'm like, what? And she was like, no worries, sis. He loved you. He always talked about how he loved you. And that hurt too, because I never got to meet him. We always made plans to meet, but we went in 2 different states, physically and mentally, So that hurts too. And it's just like, damn. I have one brother left, thank God. And I hope that he's still living. So Gary, wherever you are, I love you. And we wish you well, because we don't know where he is. Me and my other sister had a long talk yesterday, New Year's Eve, trying to figure out where he was, because he just shunned the family. And I have to respect his space. He's going through something. He lost his dad. And I was always like a mother figure to him. He always said that. So I don't know where he is. So if you are listening, baby brother, I love you too. And I wish you well. And to all my other siblings, I love you all and I wish you well. And hopefully we all can develop a stronger bond, because life can be so short for some. So my word of advice is, once again, if you have somebody in your life, whether it's a family member or whatever type of relationship is, if it's a good person, keep them in your life, because that's hard to come by. I couldn't even go to Greg's funeral because I have an autoimmune affiliated with lupus, so I get sick very easily. So like an average person, a normal person like you who would get a cold, if someone coughs around you, you'll start feeling the symptoms days to a week later. I feel it on sight. So I'm very fragile in that way too. I'm just a fragile little girl deep down. But so I couldn't go to his funeral, but I did my favors or whatever for the funeral. I did that. And for Robert, I couldn't go there because it was too hard for me mentally, because as you know, I'm fragile mentally, and with my autoimmune physically, and my mental state physically, so, and internally. So I had to bow out, but I also, sent my condolences. I paid for the floral wreath and things like that, and I sent my dedication card, and hopefully they got that. But I just couldn't do it because mentally I wasn't prepared to have lost another sibling, as well as it was literally the same day as Greg's birthday, which who had passed. That was the same day of Robert's funeral. So that was just too much for me, and I hadn't met my other side of my family fully. I've spoken to all of them, but I haven't physically met them. And to have the first encounter of meeting my family be a funeral, and then remembering the other brother that we had that passed because it was his birthday, that was just too much for me. And I am learning to nurse my mental health, meaning if I know that something is going to be too much for me, or I know that being in a vicinity of multiple people or certain types of company that I no longer want to keep, I just don't entertain it. And my family has had, on my mom's side, my family has had gatherings and Zoom meetings and family reunions and just, get-togethers for us to all stay united. But listen, some of us were never united, so it makes no sense to reunite on something that was never there. So that's just my mindset now and moving forward, that if a relationship or an encounter with someone doesn't serve my being, and not to sound selfish, but if it doesn't serve my physical or mental being, I won't even say physical because I can handle my physical myself, but if it doesn't serve my mental well-being, I have to check out from the situation or never even check in. And that's just a word of advice. If you are in the vicinity of uncomfortability, whether it's a place or it's a person or people, remove yourself or just never even enter the chat, you know? Always put your well-being in the forefront of everything that you do. Consider that. Once your mental state is tainted, that's a very hard thing to repair. I'm not saying it's irreparable, but it's a very hard thing to do. Don't put yourself in the vicinity of situations and people that will make your life uncomfortable. Never make yourself uncomfortable to make someone else comfortable. And stop that people pleasing mess too. And also set your boundaries. Your no is a no, and it should be respected. A lot of times we tell people no and they get offended or they get an attitude or they don't want anything to do with you anymore. And guess what? I had to cut someone off who I known as a child because they asked me something and I was telling them what I didn't want them to do, and they just kept disregarding my boundaries, and they had the audacity to tell me, oh, I'm pissed off now. I said, you're pissed off because I said no and I need you to do this in a certain manner when you're dealing with me? And they were like, yeah, because blah blah. So you just admitted you saying F my boundaries. And guess what? I don't care how long I've known you. If you're saying F my boundaries, it's time for me to let you go, honey. I don't care what it is. I don't care the attachment that I had to you. It's time for me to let you go. Anyone who doesn't respect your boundaries and your no's, that's a problem. And even with this whole breakup thing, all I said was no, I didn't want to come over that night, and it just turned into a whole demise of a relationship, even though we both felt that it was already on its last leg. And that's only due to him because he wasn't putting in the effort that he needed to progress this. And I was just the scorn lover because I'm like, listen, I'm trying to give you the best of me and you just giving me lackluster performances. So of course we're going to clash all the time, if not the majority of the time, you know? So a lot of people need to operate on a type of time. Respect people boundaries. Respect their no's. Don't question their no's. And even when I was talking to my therapist, I'm telling her like, yo, right now I'm done being a people pleaser. I'm far from a pushover. But if I love you, I love you, and I try to do my best to please you, even if it's doing a disservice to myself. But I was telling her, I'm like, you know what? At this point of my life, my no is a no. And I don't need to have an explanation behind it. And she's like, well, sometimes, you have to explain things because people are going to feel some type of way. And just like if you were on a job and you told the boss no or that you couldn't come in, you have to give them a reason why. I said, yeah, that's because I'm hired and I have to give my boss a reason as to why I'm not coming into work. But average human beings that's in my life, and I'm not trying to say average to diminish anyone's character. What I'm saying is a person without authority. I don't have to give you an explanation behind my no. And the fact that you want an explanation behind my no to please you, to see if it's pleasing to you, and it's okay for you to go ahead and accept my no, that says a lot about you. That says that you are actually a horrible person because you're trying to dictate how I move in life. And if that no affects you, then you want to just be dismissive. If that's the type of person that you are, sayonara, honey. Ciao, smooches, arrivederci. Listen, because I'm not compromising my morals, my faith, my beliefs, my boundaries, my mental state for anyone on this earth ever again. So if you want to be in my life or remain in my life, I need you to move with respect at all times. And I'll administer that same behavior. And I'm also the type of person now that's moving very much accordingly. Or if I just feel that you're not in my life, listen, we ain't got to move at all, honey. We can move in different directions. So anyway, thanks for listening, my babies. It's January 1st. It's a new year, 2025. I wish you all the best in love, life, happiness, finances, and all successes of the world that you strive to obtain. I love you for listening. Thank you, and please continue to ride this journey of life with me, and let's heal together. Have a great day. Have a great new year. And until I chat again, bye, babies.
Talking about the pain we hide, childhood secrets deep inside, toxic love that's torn us down. Healing's here, let's wear the crown. Mental health we got to share, open hearts that truly care. Podcast voice so full of soul, finding ways to make us whole. Openly expressive truth, sharing all that we've been through. Self-love rising from the dark, healing hearts will hit its mark.